Go. Welcome to all of you. I'll give folks time in the back to have a seat. I'm Michael Fader, and I'm president of Mountain Disaster Preparedness Group here in Idyllwild. And I want to welcome you to our second community meeting regarding the condition of our highways 74 and 243. I'd like to also welcome the folks on Facebook. We're live streaming this meeting on both the Caltrans website and the Mountain Disaster Preparedness Facebook website. So for those of you that can't join us, you're missing out on a great spread of refreshments in the back of the room. This is our second meeting, and the first meeting we had about 600 people. We've got close to 4 tonight. We're here to get answers. I think we're all hungry for information and regarding to the progress down below. And we have a panel tonight that I feel can answer just about everything. And if not, we'll get back to you with specifics. First of all, I want to welcome Supervisor Chuck Washington. And we have representatives from Councilman Ruiz's office, Blake Weller and Patrick Keplinger. We have Terry Kasinga from Caltrans, and Terry's got engineers and other folks with you.
Who is our legislative affairs chief for Caltrans. I have Bob Benjamin is the resident engineer for the emergency projects up here with Ames Construction. Richard Resnack is our geotech engineer. We have John Manich here, who is a manager with Ames Construction, and we should all thank Ames because they've been supplying the refreshments the last few meetings that we've had.
And they're local refreshments. Secondly, Captain Mike Alvarez with CHP. Lieutenant Leonard Purvis with the Sheriff's Department. John Manich, as mentioned, is with Ames Construction. They're doing all the work.
Okay, so I forgot 2 of my staff here. A lot of you might know Shane Massoud now. He's our maintenance PIO, and he's actually the PIO who's the lead for the emergency project up here. And our other PIO is Philip Hayes.
How do I get this out of here?
A PIO is a public information officer. So we have several public information officers at Caltrans District 8. We cover both Riverside and San Bernardino counties. Shane is our maintenance PIO. He heads up everything maintenance. And then we have 3 construction PIOs. And Philip just came back to my unit a few weeks ago. He worked in my unit a few years ago, went to another agency and came back. So he's in public affairs again. And he actually is a PIO. And he also has talent with video and editing and all the stuff that you'll see here tonight on the video. So we're just happy to have Philip back and Shane and everybody here tonight.
Idyllwild Fire. Our new chief, Mark Lamont, and our boys in the back. I don't know if Stacy Kelly made it tonight. Stacy, she's with the County Emergency Management Division. Stacy works with MDP and all of us to keep us safe up here. Thanks for coming, Stacy. from U.S. Forest Service, Julie Hall. And they're not VIPs, they're locals, but I want to recognize the Board of Mountain Disaster Preparedness. We've been on the Hill since 1986. Our mission is emergency preparedness, and without a board like we've got, these meetings wouldn't happen. So I'd like to introduce my Vice President, Ian Schoenlieber. Where are you, Ian? Bob Edwards is our treasurer. We have co-secretaries Sue Harbour and Kathy Lopez. Our medical directors are Dick Goldberg and Gigi Kramer. Our communications director is BJ Briggs. Our DAS operations manager is Tom Wallace. And our director of Idyllwild Emergency, which all of you should subscribe to, is Shelley Dance. The agenda tonight is going to be really simple. We're going to have a presentation. Once again, I believe Mike has got a drone that flew yesterday that's going to give us an idea of the progress and destruction. Then Terry is going to take it over. We will have questions from the audience that should be on 3x5 cards. Would the folk, my board in the back, come up and make sure that everybody's got a pen and a 3x5 card? We will answer the questions that haven't been answered by the presentation. And if time allows, and speaking of time, I want to thank him at Unified for allowing us the school, and Principal Matt Kramer for opening the doors and making everything work here today. And in regard to that, this meeting will close at 7:30. We've got to be out of here by 8. So with any time remaining, we're going to take questions from the audience that may not appear on a card or may not have been answered by our panel. So just depending on the time, we'll try to get that in. Without further ado, let's start. Let's see what we're looking at and what Ames is looking at. And Mike, I believe you've got your bird flying again, so I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, Mike. I'm not going to narrate this video. The video kind of speaks for itself. The only reason I'd like to come up to introduce it is hopefully you remember the first video and saw the damage. And you'll notice this video, a lot has been done. There's been a lot of great progress by Ames and Caltrans. The only thing that I do want to ask is if you find these videos helpful, if you like the drone videos, please let us know if this is helpful to see this progress go along, because then what we'll do is we'll recreate these videos regularly with the drone so that you have an up-to-date progress of what's going on out there. If that's something that you would like, please just let us know. No vote needed on that one, right? The higher patrol we'll get with Caltrans and the supervisor's office, and we'll start posting these regularly on our social media sites. So this is all along SR 74. So as you can see from what was once a mountain that slid down, we're starting to see the beginning of the remnants of what used to be a roadway along SR 74. Our next stop will be to show 243. We'll have that. We'll post that on our social media sites. 243 still looks like it's struggling. So there's going to be there'll be some additional updates about 243 tonight. The second video is a video that was produced by Caltrans, and this will go on their website. It's a message from Caltrans to the community.
District 8. I'm here today to provide an update on the emergency work that's taking place on State Route 74 and 243. As you remember, on February 14th, the mountaintop experienced catastrophic rainfall. Our initial assessment of storm damage resulted in over 40 locations. Since then, this number has increased to over 100 locations in need of repairs. Caltrans and Ames Construction have made significant progress on the rebuilding efforts. They've repaired slopes, culverts, roadbeds, and embankments. Continuing rainfall over the winter and spring months has caused erosion in areas where work was already completed. Consequently, this has resulted in some setbacks. As you can see, this emergency work has experienced its set of challenges with Mother Nature. Caltrans understands that these setbacks have impacted tourism in the area. I'm here with John Maddich. He's with Ames Construction, and also Amgan Benjamin. He's with Caltrans Construction. He's the resident engineer for this emergency project.
Generally speaking, I would say we're making good progress on the job. However, the storm that came in during May, it gave us like sit back and delayed the project a little bit, but we're working around that to expedite the process. And also, heavy fog on 243 was not helping. We encountered heavy fog that delayed hauling dirt.
We've been expended approximately 44,000 man hours on the project so far. We've had on average of 40 to 50 people on the project every day. We've done various slope scaling, culvert replacements, embankment reinforcement, rock slope protection, just a lot of work associated with storm damage.
Behind me here is a new slope rebuild that the contractor has been working on for over 6 weeks. What happened is you had water come down from the upper slope, come down the road here and cause the erosion, which caused this major slip out and road loss to this area. A lot of residents have driven over this during the escort process. Where you see the orange tape along the hillside there, which goes down probably several hundred feet, a new culvert will be put in there to capture that water before it actually washes down the road here to mitigate that from happening. Every 3 feet on this slope You have GeoGrid as it's built up this whole embankment. At this location on State Route 74, it might look as if the contractor has finished this location of work, but that's not true. This is a temporary cutback on a slope to allow for another lane at some point in time before repairs can take place here. This location right here, where you see the cones and the missing guardrail, there is erosion on the slope under the roadbed right here, and it's going to take at least 2 months or longer to rebuild that. I'm down here at the bottom of the washout on the 243 that everybody saw with the waterfall. This location is still under construction. The contractor has been doing earthwork here, trying to shore up this slope. But as you'll see from some of the video, we still have running water from the waterfall that starts up on top of the mountain and comes down across the roadbed here, and it makes it very difficult to work. At this location on State Route 243 is one of the areas that was heavily damaged after the Valentine's Day storm. The contractor made some repairs here shortly after Valentine's Day to allow access to Fulmer to get to the larger washouts. But since we've had the continued storms throughout the winter and early spring, this has continued to erode. There's also approximately 6 other locations below the big washout heading toward Banning that are going to need to be addressed in the same manner. This location here is going to block access to Lake Fulmer for approximately a month once those repairs begin.
I'm here with County Supervisor Chuck Washington. He represents the 3rd District in Riverside County.
I just came back from a tour of 74, and it looks like we're making good progress. Just happy to report that Caltrans is working very closely with my office and the community of Idyllwild so that we can figure out any ways to support the businesses and the local residents in the Idyllwild area. But I think they'll be much happier when it's finished, and we want to make sure we get that done before the monsoon season comes in late fall.
The California Highway Patrol would like our community to know that there's still a lot of work to be done up here, and public safety is our commitment. We want our community to know that we will continue to protect the residents, the visitors, and the construction workers of the Idyllwild area. We will strictly enforce the 25-mile-an-hour posted speed limit sign within the construction zone, as well as aggressively enforce any unsafe driving within the construction zones. Please adhere to the implemented road closure signs and follow the direction of traffic control officers and escort trucks. The CHP would like to remind our community to be patient and please respect the rules of the road.
I neglected to introduce another very important person from Jeff Stone's office. Daryl Connerton is here. We want to appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. I'm happy to be back up here again, and I wanted us to be able to come back. I talk loud. I wanted us to be able to come back and actually have changed information or good information. So I'm just going to do a recap real quick of what we had the last time we were here and where we're at now. And I'm going to let the supervisor provide the new information to you, and I'm going to be really quick with it because a lot of the stuff that we could talk about tonight was pretty much in our video. So I'm going to give you some of the statistics. We were back here on March 18th, just under 3 months ago, and at that time, that was right after the storm on February 14th took place. Ames has been up here replacing the culverts, rebuilding slopes and road beds, replacing drains, doing rock scaling. We've even had blasting up on 243, even just a couple hours ago by Saunders Meadow. We are going to need to repave these road beds, reinstall guardrail and signage. Before we can give you any type of full access on your own, under flagging during work only, that guardrail and that signage and delineation needs to be reinstalled before we can just let you go without a pilot car. So, when we had the storms on February 14th, we continued to have rain throughout the rest of the winter and the spring. and that definitely has set back some of the work. Unfortunately, we also saw that some of the work that the contractor has done over the last few months, some of it got washed out. There's a couple of examples on the 74, and there's some examples also on the 243 that you might have seen in the video. Initially, when we were here a few months ago, we said that there was about 43 locations of damage that needed to be fixed. Since we had the continuing rain throughout the winter months and into the spring, we're up to almost 100 locations of damage now. There are 58 locations approximately on State Route 74, and there's about 37 areas on the 243. Some are larger than others, as you can see by the video that we've been taking and by the drone footage. Ames has repaired 19 locations so far on the 74, and 6 locations have been repaired on the 243. They have expended 44,000, not man hours, we'll say staff hours, so far up here on the mountain. This contract, this emergency contract, which was initiated the day after February 14th for $30 million, we've expended almost $15 million fixing the road today. All right. Ames will continue full daytime work shifts, 7 days a week, and they spend their nighttime work hours, which is only 2.5 hours a night. Excuse me, 2.5 hours a night, fueling their vehicles, moving equipment around and staging it, doing the material handling, and other detailed work that they cannot complete during the daytime. The reason why they only have about 2.5 hours to work at night is because by the time they finish the midnight escort period, it takes about an hour to get the road back into where they could work. And sometimes there's lagging escorts. And then they've got to start setting up the escorts again at about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning to get ready for the 4 a.m. escorts. So they're getting, you know, good worker hours during the daytime. They're working on the weekend. They all working on both of the routes simultaneously. So, at this point, I do want to talk to you about some of the public outreach efforts that we're making, but that's not part of this conversation right now. It's more about helping the community out with tourism. And I want to talk about that at the end tonight. But right now, I want Supervisor Washington to come up and talk with you himself about what he experienced when he was up there the other day, the conversations that he had with our director, our staff, with Ames Construction. And then we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. I'll try not to be too long because I want you to have an opportunity to ask questions as well. But as she mentioned, I was able to come up last week and get a short little tour of some of the damage and the progress of the work. Before I go into too much detail though, I want to give a shout out to a couple of folks that work out of my office. My Chief of Staff, Michelle D'Armone, is here. She's applaudable. and Olivia Valderrama. Olivia, Olivia's our land use expert. And I don't know, I didn't see Rob Moran. Rob's here. Rob is from our county EDA. He's in the back. So if you have questions about that. And specifically, EDA has really been involved in, if you've seen the billboards that have been purchased and are situated all around, not only just in my district, 3rd district, but also over in the 5th district, along the 10, because we recognize the damage to the highways and its economic impact to this community. And one thing that we share throughout the county, throughout 2.5 million residents of Riverside County, is we all love Idyllwild. So we want to see people have an opportunity to come up. This has been one of the most trying, but at the same time, most rewarding experiences that I've gone through. It's trying because the damage has been so significant. These are highways that were built back in the 40s. The science and engineering of highways has advanced significantly. So it wasn't just a matter of putting a Band-Aid on it and getting it back into circulation, if you will. They're literally rebuilding a new highway in both instances. None of this collaboration, and this is the part that I refer to as rewarding, would have been possible without the relationship that I've been able to build and my office has been able to build with Caltrans and with Terry. It started 3 years ago when the only problem that we were dealing with was visitors to the mountain because of the snow. Now we have sort of a different kind of problem and challenge. Additionally, out of the San Gregorio office, Captain Mike Alvarez has just been such a good friend to my office, to this community, to the entire mountain. He is top shelf, and I don't know how we could have gotten a lot of what we've gotten done without his help. Another individual in law enforcement that I'd like to thank is Lieutenant Leonard Purvis, and because he's been doing such a good job, I'm going to promote him tonight to captain. But your pay stays the same. You guys know Leonard. Leonard's up here a lot. And it was Leonard who showed me the benefits of recording a video message promoting Idyllwild and appearing very little in it, in myself appearing very little, and letting Mayor Max take most of the credit. So, Mayor Max is our much beloved mayor of Idyllwild, so thank you for that. As was mentioned earlier by Terry and then also in the video, if we'd not had any rain after February 14th, we would probably be closing in on finishing the work. The rains that we've had have set the projects back significantly. I am still very sensitive to the need of the community to thrive economically. And so one of the questions I wanted to pose to you is, which would you prefer, and maybe I should just do this by show of hand, would you prefer, and again, show of hand, one alternative or the other, would you prefer longer escorted hours to be able to come up and go down? Or would you prefer them just to stay where they are and us get the work done as quickly as we can? So if you want longer escort hours, there's 3 of you. 4, 5, 6. And if you want them to just keep pushing forward as fast as they can, to try to get it done as quickly as they can. So, Terry, it seems like the consensus
But you
is...
need to understand, too, if we do the weekend escorts, okay, from 4 a.m. to midnight, Saturday and Sunday through Labor Day, it's only going to delay the work about a month. So do you want to get people up here this summer on the weekends? Yes. Or do you want and extend the work about a month, right, John? Or do you want to keep going the way you are and go through Labor Day the way we are right now with no weekend access except from...
Tourism.
All right, let's ask it again. Do you want Saturday, Sunday escorts through Labor Day from 4 a.m. to midnight?
And that would delay the completion about a month. Yes. So,
One more time.
one more time. Terry, repeat the choices again.
One more time. Who wants escorts on Saturday and Sunday through Labor Day from 4 a.m. to midnight? It'll only delay the work 1 month. Put your hand up really high. Question number 2. Do you want to leave it the way it is right now, where you can only get up here in the morning and back home at night through Labor Day? Okay, we're only asking 2 questions. Wait, we're not... I'm going to finish. We're just trying to get a poll here right now. I just need some cooperation, one or the other. So it looks like what we're proposing, we're going to do the weekend escorts through Labor Day.
And I have to add one more thing. If we do extend the hours that we have escorts coming up, one of the things that we can't do is delay the completion into rainy fall. So we don't want to risk that. So even if we start with these extended hours on the weekends, which I think will assist businesses, we need to have the flexibility to change that if it looks like we're slipping behind and risking when we can get this complete. But I'm going to leave that part to the experts, okay? Because I'm not going to be able to drive up and look at it. That's not what I do. So, but I want to represent what you want. So.
Get the work done. All right, I need to finish this too.
Okay. I'm going to let Terry address Labor Day and beyond. I think that's all I have for now, Terry.
Okay. All right, thank you, Supervisor. So I kept saying Labor Day for a reason. Our contractor, when we met with the supervisor the other day, feels very confident that by Labor Day, running these weekend escorts, that starting Labor Day weekend, we will give you 24/7 access continuously with escorts. Starting Labor Day. So, while we're running these escorts on Saturday and Sunday, Ames is not going to be at home watching TV. They're going to be working over on the 243 and focusing on that on Saturday and Sunday. You know what? We may get set behind by monsoons anyway, and Alex Tardy is here tonight, and he's going to talk next about that, because every time it rains and we get saturation, it sets the work back. So I believe that what you're telling me is that let's do the escorts throughout the summer here. If it doesn't go well, let us know. If you guys feel that you're not seeing a lot of people come up or that type of thing, let us know. Let us handle the construction part. I am going to have On God and Richard come up after Alex and let you know a little bit more of what we're up against. We continually are having damages every time we turn around. I told everybody this when I first came up here and the media. We can't see everything on those initial assessments. And then you get more storms, or you get a little bit of time that goes by, things start to dry out and they start to slip under the road. Things are still popping up every week out there. Maybe we could set up a tour with some of the community members at some point and take you guys out to see what we're up against. When I was out there, there was about 10 locations that were starting to slip again, and you could see the raveling on the road. I mean, we're looking at something up here that is just going to be going on for a long time. The contract that we're working under right now, we're addressing everything that we can as quickly as we can to restore the road to the traveling public. We're not allowing environmental issues or anything get in our way from fixing the 74 right now. There's a future project that was, done last year to fix all of the culverts that need to be fixed, but that's preventative. The job that we're doing right now is to restore this road and get you guys back on it as quickly as we can. But we're also trying to do that by mitigating or lessening some of these impacts. And we realize that this community is struggling right now because their businesses are not getting the attendance that they're used to on the weekends. This is the place to be in the Inland Empire. People want to be up here. So I might as well just tell you now so I don't waste any more time later. We are working with Ames, and we are working with General Outdoor Advertising. We've been working with them for years. We get complimentary ads here and there, and they get to post for a few minutes or something, and then when another ad comes in, we get bumped. And it's a great service if you want to get a PSA out. So I've been talking with Tim Lynch and Billy Wynn this week, and they were able to come up with almost a $50,000 ad campaign on about 5 or 6 digital billboards down in the valley along the 15, the 91 from Temecula all the way out to Ontario, up and over toward Rancho, up back towards San Bernardino. A lot of you drive through there, you've seen those digital billboards. For $10,000, we're getting a $50,000 campaign. Your ad to come up here, Escape to Idyllwild, is going to run every 1 to 2 seconds through Labor Day. Now, I want to add a little bit to that. I got on the computer and I tried to find a beautiful picture of Idyllwild. I found a lot. They're great. I found one from Idyllwild Arts, and some kid had taken it, but I don't know, he lives in Europe or somewhere now, and he's probably rich and doesn't live here anymore. It's impossible to get a photo without a copyright. So, I stopped and took some pictures today with my staff, and we had talked about this earlier. I'm going to open this up. If any of you are interested in taking a photo and sending it to us, and you can send it to me in a certain format, we'll provide you the specs if you're interested. We're going to choose about 5 or 6, or we can even switch them out. I want you guys to take pictures of scenery and what you think is going to get people up here to Idyllwild, and send it to me, and we will put your name at the bottom of the photo on those digital billboard ads. Do you like that idea? So I know there's people here that like to take pictures. Maybe you have old pictures. If nobody's interested and doesn't send me anything by next Friday, then we'll just use what we have of Lake Fulmer today. But it would be great to get the community involved, be able to say that, you know, hey, these photos are from the community of Idyllwild, have that person's name at the bottom. And so email me, call me, whatever you need to do, and we'll take whatever we can get from you by next Friday. We'll get the ad going and move on from there. So I think it's time to talk to Alex and then Amgad and Richard real quick. So thank you, Alex Tardy, for coming up from National Weather Service, Noah in San Diego. And he also brought his son up here tonight. I'm going to mention that. I don't believe his son has ever been to the mountains before. So I'm going to let Alex talk about that.
Thanks, Terry. Good evening, everyone. I do have some cloud charts. I brought a lot of them if you're interested in studying and looking at the weather as well. I did take a lot of photos coming up here. I happened to grow up in a nice community, a mountain area in Vermont when I was much younger. And this place reminds me a lot of Vermont in many ways, and that's why when Terry says, come on up, it's no problem. I love coming up here to see everything. Now, we're here because of the weather, right? The weather did all this. And it started in August with the fire, but August was the hottest August on record in Southern California. And in fact, the past 6 years are all top 10. So if it seems like it's been really hot, whether you're in the Inland Empire or the mountains, it's been record hot. And then we had the winter. The winter, we received about 35 inches of rain in Idyllwild. A third of that fell in 24 hours on Valentine's Day. A third of that in 24 hours. And where we're at now with so many problems. The season brought us about 200 or twice as much rainfall as any average season. And you know we've been begging for rainfall over the years with the drought that's been going on, and too much came all of a sudden. It's what we call an atmospheric river, and it's resulted in all this damage and problems we had. May, the month of May, was 4 times as wet as any average month. You guys have lived there for a while. You know the weather, you know the climate, you know the microclimates. And typically in May, we're in a break, and then we wait for the monsoon. The expectations this year for the monsoon, typically the monsoon will start around July 1. And what is the monsoon? That's when you get tropical moisture, not from Hawaii, but from Mexico, that comes up and gives us those big, big thunderstorms. And we are expecting an active year, unfortunately, with the monsoon. Now, will we be able to tell if a thunderstorm is going to fall right over Idyllwild versus Pine Cove? No. Maybe the day of, okay? So it's a big difference. We saw thunderstorms last year in August that produced 2 inches of rain in about an hour, and massive debris flow came down the Cranston Fire and over Herky Creek and down to the campgrounds. So we are expecting another warm season, not as hot as last year, an active monsoon, possibly as early as 4th of July weekend. And you know how it works with the weather. We could have 1 week that's going to be perfect and 1 week that's going to be rock and roll with thunder. We provide Caltrans specific forecasts twice a day or as needed that'll give them updates on fog, thunderstorm potential, heat, wind, and that type of impactful weather that could delay and has delayed some of their construction projects. So we're working very closely with Caltrans to provide them with the latest information on a week outlook so they can plan ahead. We're not going to stop the weather. We're not going to stop the thunderstorms and the monsoon. But do appreciate the power of the weather, unfortunately. And it looks like we're going to have to deal with more of that coming up as soon as we get into the month of July. Now, the good news is the monsoon season only typically goes until about September 15th on average, okay? And then we have to worry more about the Santa Ana, the fire potential, that type of thing. It's probably comforting to see a lot of green grass out there. All the folks I talked to in CAL FIRE, high threat because of the weeds as tall as me everywhere. And those are going to dry out, even though we had a really wet month of May, those are going to dry out. So I encourage you to follow the weather very closely. I assure you that we're providing the best information we can 24/7 to Caltrans and other partners as well at weather.gov, weather.gov, and doing our best so we can at least inform them so they can make better decisions about the construction projects and other activities that are going on. Thanks for coming out this evening, and make sure you check out the forecast on your own as well at weather.gov. Grab a cloud chart if you like as well before you leave. Good luck, everyone.
We're almost finished on our end. I just want to let everybody know that this is a difficult situation. Like Supervisor said, this road is old. A lot of the systems on this road were small. The project that's coming in, later this year with the 25 million is going to be upgrading a lot of these systems. There's going to be massive culverts and drains and pipes put in as a preventative measure. So we're glad that we have the money for that. Like I said, the project we're working on right now is to restore everything we can and give the road back to you guys. The problem here is we wanted to come out tonight and tell you, here's a milestone. We'll go ahead and do the escorts on the weekends. We are going to give you full 24/7 access with escorts on Labor Day and beyond until we can get all the guardrail and delineation and signs up. Then we'll at some point go to the flagging, which means that you'll be on your own when we're not up here working and flagging. You'll be able to move freely through 74. I cannot give you an estimate on 243 tonight. I'm hoping in about a month or so I can talk more about 243, right, John? Couple, 3 months. I mean, it's going to be a long time to fix the 243. We still have running water up there. It's got to be diverted somehow, and it's from a waterfall, not just from snow melt. So I want to bring up On God and Richard Rusnak real quick to talk to you. But honestly, I'm giving you guys milestones right now. I know that you want to hear dates, exact dates that, hey, we're going to give you back 74, completely done, we're out of here. We don't know what's going to happen this summer with rain. We don't know at what point we may have additional culvert damage. I mean, in 3 months, we've increased it twofold. Or road failing. And I do know that a lot of the work that needs to get done on 74 takes time, like the one that we showed you. The other location that is going to need to get done, where I showed you the road was slipped out underneath on the outside up Brown Lane. There's a lot of work left to do. But I do want Richard and On God to kind of explain quickly kind of a scenario and what they're really working on and what they're up against. And then I would like for Lieutenant Purvis to come up and talk to you about emergency situations, evacuation, stuff like that. Because we are working together as one with our emergency responders and law enforcement to ensure your safety. And that's the whole thing. If we could give you back 74 the way it is right now and just work under flagging, we'd do it, but we can't. And I know those of you that drive through there, that there's no guardrail, there's no signs. We can't just not be there and not do the escorts and let you guys drive up and down that road by yourself. It's all about public safety. It's all about the safety of the contractor, our staff, law enforcement, and also keeping it buttoned up so that you can have emergency response go through there whenever necessary. So that takes time at the beginning and end of every workday. So I'm going, Richard, you want to come up real quick? I know Richard has got something to add tonight. I think he has a muse.
Hi everyone, I was here last meeting and I'm glad to come here again and give quick numbers about this. The milestone that supervisor announced a few minutes ago, based on the weekend, we're going to give you the weekend full escort in the morning from 4 a.m. until midnight, and we feel confident to meet that milestone pending the weather condition. If we get hit by a storm during that time from now until the Labor Day, then things will change differently, and I'm sure you guys understand that. The other thing that I want to mention here is we started this job 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's 84 hours. Now we're working roughly 40 hours a week. So our effective working hours cut down by half, while our workload started with 43, 42 locations, between 74 and 243, now close to 100. So the amount of work doubled, the number of hours cut half. So if you guys can comprehend this, that's easy to know why we're at where we're at right now. But we're doing our best. We have the best labor, the best operators, and we're doing everything we can to keep him on that side, not going anywhere, in order to get this road open for you as soon as possible. And I'll let Richard talk about the technicality, and if you have any question for me or for him, we'll be glad to answer.
Hi folks, thanks for having us. So, I was sitting in the dentist chair the other day and I was contemplating what was going on, and my dentist and I were talking about how our jobs kind of compare, okay? And we've all been to the dentist, right? Every one of us in the room has gone, some more often than not, me. And what we have up here are road dentists and dental technicians. They fill cavities, they build bridges, they put on veneers, right? Okay? And now you got an old road here. I was reading up on the history the other day. First cut in 1904 for lumber and for fire suppression. In the 30s, they paved it, okay? It became a county road, never built to a state standard, and we finally inherited, the state finally inherited it in 1970, okay? Very little has been done to this road since it was first cut, all right? Now, our road dentists are out there, and have you ever gone to the dentist and the dentist says, you had a cavity, it was bugging you, right? And they take the x-ray and they go, oh, guess what? You got 6. I'll be seeing you every 2 months now for the rest of the year. Because you don't go do them all at the same time, do you? This is a linear project. It is a linear roadway. There are not offshoots that we can take you around. There are not detours we can take you around that are direct through some of these construction projects. Okay, we can do one tooth at a time sometimes. Okay, it's very challenging up here. Ames is working hard. I cover 4 counties in Southern California: San Bernardino, Riverside, Imperial, and San Diego counties. I'm working on projects from the Tijuana border to Nevada, from Arizona to the Pacific Ocean. This contractor is doing an exceptional job to try to get this road open for you as quickly as possible. All right, we have moved over 120,000 cubic yards of earth. That's 10 yards a truck, up and down this mountain, screen the material. The rock, every bit of it is being used on this mountain to rebuild embankments on 243 and 74. You're getting a new road. We're not putting a Band-Aid on it. It's not getting fixed with duct tape and staples. We're pulling the teeth, we're doing root canals, and we're putting in a new road for y'all, okay? We started with $8 million immediately after when we first did it. Through a lot of effort between personnel all over, we added another 22 million onto your road. That is a big investment in your roads. Big. It's rare to get that much in one city. The thing is, it takes time. We can't do it overnight. Challenging, yes, we take care of it. The impossible takes time and money. You want miracles, don't talk to me, talk to the man upstairs, okay? We are doing the best we can. We are doing well out there, all right? These roads are being rebuilt to a new standard, to a better standard. I said it before and I'll say it again. This is not business as usual. We appreciate your patience. We know it's difficult. It's difficult on everybody. It's difficult on the contractor. They're away from their families too. My 83-year-old mother's back at home with dementia, and I don't get to see her every day, right? It's tough on everybody, but we appreciate your patience. We appreciate your understanding. They're working hard out there to get this road open as quickly as possible. 243 is challenging. The materials there are not well suited. The original road we are trying to rebuild on, I have a soil probe that I put in the ground. It's supposed to penetrate 2 inches. 2 inches. Penetrates 3 feet. And it would go farther if it was 6 foot long, I can almost guarantee you. All right? We'll get you there. We're working at it. The rains slow us down. The snow slows us down. All right? It's another cavity. It's another old culvert. They were this big before. They're this big now. They're not going to get blocked up next time. They're not going to overtop the roadway because we're building it to a new and better standard. Something that your rate of return over time is going to benefit the community for the long run. Not just this year. Not next year. What we fix won't fail. We're not getting to everything. It's not going to be perfect. But we're doing it right. And we're doing the very best we can. That's the contractor, the PIO, Supervisor Washington, the CHP, everybody. Everybody is pitching in. And we appreciate your understanding. Please be nice to the flagmen who are out there, okay? Some of the things I've seen and heard people say to them, these are people who stand in the sun, stand in the snow, stand in the wind, get bit by bugs night and day. They finish a shift and somebody gives them the bird. It's rough. It's not easy, folks. It's a tough job out there. All right? Thank you. Thank you for understanding.
Just one final announcement. Built into our milestone schedule, we're going to give 4 days break to the contractor, so we'll allow tourists to come in during the 4th of July, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we already accounted for the 4th of July events and allow more people to come in and enjoy Idyllwild. So that's not going to affect our milestone. Thank you.
Hi folks, how are you? You guys doing okay? Good. I'm Captain Purvis. How are you? Thank you for the promotion, sir. Appreciate that. I just want, first off, I want to say how much I love Idyllwild. For those of you who don't know how much I love Idyllwild, I do love Idyllwild. Probably the toughest thing for me is to drive an hour and a half to get to my favorite restaurants in Idyllwild, but I still do it because you deserve it, and you deserve our presence in your community. And I just want you to know that I'm committed as the sheriff's captain of the Hemet Station to make sure that you see us up here. For those of you who are Facebook friends with me, I do look at some of the posts that you post on Facebook, and I've seen a few where folks are saying there's too much of a presence up here with the sheriff's department. But you know what's nice is thankfully a lot of you kind of jump on those folks and say, yeah, that's what we want. So I appreciate you doing that. I really do. That's my goal. I want you to see us. I want you to get sick of seeing us. And I want you to get sick of seeing the CHP. We have dedicated CHP officers who live up here and sheriff's deputies. And I'll tell you, I have never had a better working relationship with the CHP captain than I have had with this captain right here, Mike Alvarez. He is amazing. And those guys over there are incredible. We have such a great dynamic, and I just want you to know that. Things are really working well. Supervisor Washington, to show you the commitment that he has, on a Sunday, and I flew up around the damaged area in Supervisor Washington's plane. That's how committed he is to show us what issues we're facing and to try to work together best to come up with solutions to make life a little bit easier for you. So we are, and we're going to continue that commitment. I want to let you know that I'm providing overtime cars up here to make sure that I have people on the hill so they don't have to drive that hour and a half to your residences and to the hill. So that's going to continue. And just when we start having some of this inclement weather, I want you to know as well that we're prepared. We're training with our partners, Idyllwild Fire, CAL FIRE, National Guard, CHP, to respond not only to major rain events, but to fire events. So just know that we're prepared and we're ready to respond to help you. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on what we're doing and to let you know we're here for you.
Thank you for those kind words. So I've been asked to talk about a couple of safety messages, which I'll do, but first I want to highlight something. The California Highway Patrol is committed to public service. We're committed to public safety. Like Captain Purvis said, I dedicate 3 of my officers to this hill. They live up here. They respond from up here. I don't require them to check in at the Belmont office. They come directly from here and they respond out. In fact, 2 of them are here because they do the hard work, because those are the ones that do the hard work. It's not me, I'll be honest with you. I'll introduce them if you don't already know them. Officer Mike Bell on the right. And Officer Graham Aniston on the left. But to piggyback off of what Captain Purvis said, it's not just lip service. We do have a great relationship. I've worked all throughout California, and I have never had this type of working relationship with the Riverside County Sheriff's that I have with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, more specifically Leonard Purvis. We work regularly with them. We work regularly with the Idyllwild Fire Department. And what that translates to you as our community members is that you have 3 public safety entities that are committed to public safety, committed to your safety in lockstep. So what that means is when emergencies happen, when bad things happen, we are in complete lockstep and we can mitigate those emergencies, and what that means is that you're safer. Caltrans and Ames, those are the ones that worry about the roadways. I'll be honest with you, my chief concern is not the roadways. My chief concern is the safety of all of you and the rest of the people that come visit and live in Idyllwild. That's what's most important to the Highway Patrol. With that said, thank you. With that said, let me remind you of a couple of the roadway laws while the construction zone is in effect. Within the construction zone, the speed limit has been reduced to 25 miles an hour. Motorists will not be permitted to stop during the escort services, and you cannot pass in the escort services. I've seen a number of citations that my officers have issued for people trying to pass during the escort. Please do not do that. And I highly encourage you not to do that, because you're in a construction zone, and as everybody knows in California, your fines are doubled in a construction zone. So please do not pass or speed within that construction zone. To ensure that we meet those traffic safety compliances, As anybody that's traveled these roads that you've seen, I have officers stationed at both ends of them, as well as people that are roaming in between. And I expect both of these officers, as well as Officer Murawski, to be out there conducting aggressive enforcement. And then lastly, I want to reiterate what Richard Resnick said. Please be kind to the Ames construction workers. That is a very challenging job. You know, we get that same finger a lot, so I appreciate that. But we get paid a lot. We get paid a lot to deal with that. But in all honesty and in all seriousness, please be kind to them. Follow the rules of the road. Follow the signs of the pilot workers, the construction employees, and the Caltrans crews. And then outside those construction zones, please be mindful of the speed limit. Our office has received a number of complaints of people going too slow outside the construction zones. So I just want to also remind you that that when you are traveling below the posted speed limit, we have turnouts on the hill. I don't fault anybody for not being comfortable with the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, but please use those turnouts and those passing lanes when they're appropriate. I have a stack of business cards up here if anybody wants to get a hold of either myself or any member of the California Highway Patrol. Again, this is going to be a long process. We're asking for your patience, but we're going to get through this. No matter what, we will get through this. And at the other end of it, we're going to look back and say, we survived all of that. Thank you.
So I'm just going to close this out really quick and let you all know that we do have a press conference tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the CHP office in San Gregorio. I have almost every major media market, including Spectrum Cable, coming to that press conference, including print and media out of the low desert area, the Palm Desert, Indio area. So based on what we saw here tonight with the hand raising, Supervisor Washington is going to be letting the media know that we're going to go ahead and start the weekend closures this Saturday from 4 a.m. to midnight, Saturdays and Sundays until Labor Day. And then come Labor Day, if we don't get a massive storm like we did on February 14th or a lot of setbacks, we're planning on relinquishing 24/7 to you guys under escort until we get all of the guardrail and delineation back in. So I really want to thank you all for listening to us tonight and allowing us to be here again. We'll come back again in a couple of months. I'm talking with the gentleman over here that's doing the Idyllwild Strong, and I think it's probably best to team up with him instead of trying to do something separately. It's been difficult to find an act. So, and I had some ideas that I provided to him. So we'll be up here for that. I will be up here for the 4th of July parade. I believe CHP is coming too, right, Mike? And the sheriff will be here, and I believe Ames is going to try to have somebody in the parade with a truck, possibly, right, John? And I'm going to try to get our Caltrans safety van up here. So, I guess Mike is going to take over now. Where are you, Mr. Fader? Thank you, everyone. Go ahead and pass out my email address right now. I have 4 cards left and Jocelyn's got a stack. So if you're interested in sending a photo, my email address is TERRIK dot KAS as in Sam INGA. One more time. At DOT.ca.gov like government. So it's Terry, TERRI dot Kasinga, KAS as in Sam, INGA at DOT.ca.gov. I learned that in elementary school and I still remember it. And I used to do it with my right hand, so that was pretty good. All right, Mike, you're up. Now comes the tough part for us, your questions.
Hi, I'm back. What impressed me tonight was Supervisor Washington asked you what you wanted. And I saw the show of hands. I know it wasn't unanimous, but it was definitely a majority that agreed that weekend opening will help the town. And it doesn't sound like it's going to be a great extension of the project in terms of time. So congratulations for coming tonight, and congratulations for giving your input to our folks, because they truly are here on our behalf. So we've got some questions.
Yeah, can we please get to the questions? We only have 20 minutes left.
I'm going there right now. Thank you. Okay, probably answer, well, I'm going to go to that one last. Will the new slopes that look graded be able to regrow trees or remain clear to vegetation? I've only got 6 on the card that weren't answered, so we're going to go to the public in just a second.
Sorry, Mike. Just real quick on the tree thing. I wasn't going to mention it tonight, but, Julie, I keep wanting to call you Amy. I know you guys still have some tree removal to do up here, right? Along the roads. You want to talk about that real quick? I don't want to speak for them. We don't go out and plant trees. Regrowth happens naturally. But I don't believe that we're not completely done yet seeing the tree removal in the burn area. So I'll let Julie do that.
So I'm not sure this was exactly the question. I don't know if Caltrans is going to be planting any vegetation on the slopes so that it doesn't look like just graded dirt. But in terms of where the Cranston fire burned, we are going to be taking out those hazard trees, and we have requested funds for, we call it reforestation in the Cranston burn, and hopefully we'll be either getting some appropriated dollars for that or be able to get some grant dollars for replanting trees. So at this point, yes, we're looking at it. I don't have a firm answer though on when that will happen.
As for the embankments we have rebuilt, yes, they will be revegetated. But it won't happen right now. It's a process. Again, you don't paint a house until your drywall's up. So let us get the drywall up first, and then we'll put the vegetation back. Now, your new cut slopes, the material, you remember your old cut slopes that had all the boulders in them? That is a formation, okay? It is not typically going to revegetate as you see your other ones there that are your old vertical ones that are all eroded down, those really didn't revegetate well. Some vegetation will grow on those. We will do our best to keep erosion at a minimum and try to revegetate those. But the embankments that we've built below, using that material we cut back, yes, that will all be revegetated with most likely, well, absolutely, there'll be native vegetation, so like those purple flowers, all the other yellow flowers, whatever. We're gonna get it up in there, but just let us get the drywall up first.
Okay. Does Ames receive financial incentives to finish early?
There's no financial incentive for the contractor. They work under something called force account procedures in our standard specs. So if they finish early, they can move on to another project. That's incentive to them and incentive for us that we get our facility sooner. But there is no monetary incentive.
Here's a good one. Is it possible to drive to Lake Fulmore and walk to the other side and be picked up to go down to the other side of the hill?
No, unfortunately. unfortunately.
Here's one on 4th of July, but it's been discussed. We're going to have pilot car openings for 4 days. What hours? 4 a.m. to midnight. What days? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Is there a new contract for 74-243? What is the link for public to read? I don't know. Sue Nash, are you here? You want to elaborate on that question?
Well, I tried to get a copy of the current contract. I made a public records request twice and was...
Got it. Is the contract with Ames available for public information?
Yes, who did you go through at my office to get that document?
Public records request.
Through Ron Akers?
On your webpage.
On our webpage, I'll check on that. That is something that is a public document. I have it in my file, and it's a very small document. It's an emergency director's order. It's usually about 1 page. And then they have the other stuff that goes with it. We have actually 2 contracts out right now. The one is the $30 million one that we're currently working on, and the other one is the $25 million from last year that is the preventative work, the really big improvement upgrade work. There will be upgrades and improvements in this project, and we're bowling through and getting that done. But this other job that we had from last summer after the fire, once we opened up that road to traffic, it was subject to a lot of environmental permit processes. And so we're finishing that up. Hopefully in the next few months, we'll be able to have that buttoned up. And then Ames will go from the contract they're on now, when they're done, into that next one. We are going to be in your lives for a while. Probably more than a year. Yes. And if we continue to have, I'm going to be honest, if we continue to have damages on the project we're working on right now, we're already looking into working on plans to maybe ask for some more money. Like Richard said, you guys are getting a whole new mountain up here. This isn't just coming in and fixing something at the same standard that it already was, which is usually what we are forced to do. We replace in kind. This is totally different.
Thank you. Great answer. Thank you. Crazy traffic on Wilson. What's the law enforcement doing about crazy drivers on Wilson down in Anza?
So you're not going to like the response I give you, because Wilson belongs to the Temecula CHP office, and I'm not the commander of the Temecula CHP office. What I will do, whoever wrote that, can you please do me a favor? I have a business card up here with our CHP's, with our office's email address. Can you email me your concerns, and so I can pass that on to my counterpart, who's the commander of the Temecula office.
Captain Alvarez, the Temecula station is also in my district. So between the two of us, we'll reach out to them and get an answer to that question. The question was about Wilson Valley Road, right? Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, the answer is I can facilitate getting the answer or getting a response to that. That's the best thing.
Okay, the last one was mentioned 3 times, and it's our concern as well. I was at a MAST meeting yesterday, Mountain Area Safety Task Force, and this was brought up. Mark and Captain Purvis, let's talk about evacuation in Idyllwild if we have a fire. Evacuation's under sheriff, right? But
good evening. First off, I'd like to thank you all for your patience during this time. it has been amazing to me that our call volume for emergency incidents on the highway have not increased in any percentage, which just goes to show that you're all being patient and you're all being kind to one another. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. I would also like to resonate on what my counterparts here said earlier. Captain Alvarez and Captain Purvis, along with Division Chief Bill Weiser and the U.S. Forest Service, Chiefs Vogel and Reyes, we have been working diligently on your behalf since February 14th on pre-planning for exactly that question, and that's evacuation. Your emergency response cooperators between CHP, Riverside Sheriff, CAL FIRE, U.S. Forest Service, Idyllwild Fire, we have all been working on these plans diligently, and I will tell you that these plans are solid. We have solid evacuation plans to get you off the main arteries if we have an emergency that would cause us to unified pull the pin on doing a full-scale evacuation of Idyllwild. I'm sorry?
When will we know those plans?
So let me just say this, you entrust us to put these together for you. And let me also say that we do not advertise those for very specific reasons, okay? We don't want certain folks to know what our full-scale evacuation plans are, okay? And so let me just reassure you time and time again that we have spent countless hours pre-planning the evacuation, the possibility for evacuation to Idyllwild should that become necessary.
Are you saying it's not a public record?
I'm saying that the plan itself that we have been working on is fully viable and it is not being made public at this time. That's
But if
correct.
I made a public records request, then I get a copy of it?
No, ma'am, not necessarily. Yes, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My question is about somebody who's homebound, and how will they know?
So, thank you for that. We do have a list. If you have folks who are homebound, if you have neighbors who are homebound, if you have folks that cannot do that for themselves, we want you to bring those concerns to us at the Idyllwild Fire Department. All right, 54160 Maranatha Drive. Come down. We want to know about this. Mountain disaster preparedness and CERT will be enacted should this need to take place. And the Riverside Sheriff's Office, who will take command of those evacuations, will be notified of those instances.
For all areas, Pine Cove too?
I'm sorry?
You want to know about Pine Cove too? or-
Yes, we want to know about any of those instances. Thank you very much. And we appreciate your diligence and your patience. Thank you.
Yes or no? It's an assurance if we cannot go the Mountain Center way on an evacuation study. So if we can't go that way, yes or no? Do you have a plan that you're working on to get us down the other way, down Banning side?
It's not necessarily as easy as yes or no. The answer is we're working on all possibilities, but if you have seen the reduced fuel load between here and Mountain Center, the odds of you not being able to travel in that direction are very slim. How's that? Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Mark. Okay, that's it for the cards. Give me a raise of hands of who else has questions. Stand up here if you can, come to the middle. Oh, one other thing. Terry, there was a question about a phone number to call for status of pilot car hours and the roads.
Yeah, if you have any questions on this project, Shane is the lead PIO. I want you guys to get directly to him and have the most accurate information. So if there's any question, he'll be talking to me and we'll be talking to God and Ames. Shane is S-H-A-N-E Massoud, M-A-S-S-O-U-D, and his direct line to his desk is 909-383-4416. That way you won't get the runaround in calling in to our main line. And a lot of you have my cell and number, and you're more than welcome to call me also. Oh yeah, Shane's email is shane.massoud@dot.ca.gov. But that information is on, I believe, the meeting notice from tonight and press releases and whatnot too, so.
Okay, come on up for questions. We got a little bit of time. I'm going to limit you to 2 minutes.
Won't take that long. Great, thank you very much. So it was awesome that we extended the hours from 4 to 7 to 4 to 8. I know for many of us that go off the hill for work, that was very helpful. But they have a pilot car that goes down around 7:10 to 7:15, and the other one does not leave till 8 o'clock. So although normally they run about every 22 minutes, when it comes between 7 and 8, there is only one car that goes, and if you miss that one, AM, I'm sorry. So in the 4 to 7 went to 4 to 8. But the problem is, between 7 and 8, they only added one car. And there are many of us that need to get off the hill and would like to not either have to be there at 7 or be there at 8. We'd like to be able to leave at 7:30.
Sometimes it leaves at 6:50.
Yes, sometimes it does. And I had a Caltrans person, sorry. I actually politely asked a Caltrans person, and the response, I said, why is it I can sit here for 52 minutes waiting? Otherwise, I might as well take the Temecula route. And the answer, very nice gentleman said, he said, I don't know why they don't run another one, but they don't.
Any answer to that? You understand the question, Terry?
I do. And I don't have an answer for you, but I'm going to find out. I heard this the other day, and I'll talk with John, and we'll talk with OnGod and everybody and find out what's really going on. I'm hearing that there's a 45-minute delay or 50-minute delay. And we said in the beginning that downbound was going to be preferred in the morning and upbound at night. So we'll drill down and find out what's going on with it and try to rectify it. Right, John?
Yes.
Thank you.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay, Marge, you're up.
Come on, Marge, give them that.
Be nice.
Why did he say that to me? I'm concerned about our kids. School starts in August, and we have a high school bus that goes down every day and comes back. Right now, they can go down in the morning, but they have to come back on Wilson Road in the afternoon. We talk about all of us, our money, we want tourists up here to help us out. We're a survival community, we've done pretty good, but nobody talks about our kids. And I think if they can go down in the morning at 7 o'clock, if one vehicle had the right to come back at 4:30, that's the school bus. 5 days a week, one vehicle to be allowed to come up. It's worth more than 2 days on the weekend for tourists to have our kids safe. Thank you.
I'm going to let the supervisor start on this one, but we'll ask that question and talk about it. I've got some comments to make about it too.
Thank you, Terry. Marge, I hear you, and we will work on that. And I don't know why he said be nice to you. But it's an important issue, and I think it needs to be addressed. But it's going to be hard to answer, and some of these answers that we might have to give, we won't know until you actually ask the question. So please forgive them for not having all the answers tonight, but ask your questions or ask them to me. Send them to my office. I'll make sure that Caltrans, Terry gets them, the captain, Alvarez gets them, Captain Purvis gets them, whatever's needed, we'll get an answer. Sometimes you may not like the answer, but we're going to get you an answer, and it's going to be an honest answer. All right?
I just want to let you know, every time we make an adjustment to allowing traffic through, it takes longer to get the work done. In order for a bus load of kids to come through, we're going to have to clear the road, stop what they're doing. When we were up here the other day, there was work going on everywhere. And yeah, we did get stuck waiting while they were working, and it took a while. We'll talk to, Ames about it, but if they know that there's going to be how many buses? Just one. I don't know. We'll talk to them and we'll see what we can do. But Richard, what do you got to say?
So this is a linear project. There's no easy go around. You're all aware of that, okay? At certain times, the excavations are deep, okay? And so we can't allow, I couldn't get through today. I had to go all the way around. Because if we stop work and they've got to build a ramp through an excavation to get a school bus through, it slows progress. It also may not be feasible because we have a 6 or 7 foot excavation going on at the time. Much of the work we're doing right now is focusing on the larger projects, the deep excavations, so that we can regain access as quickly as possible. If we can in August, we will try to get a school bus through. Okay, but right now, the excavations can be deep in order to reestablish that foundation of the roadway. And sometimes the road's just not there, and we work diligently to get it back there by 6 o'clock for you. So that may be where it's at right now in August. If things advance rapidly and we have some good weather and we can get it done, we will try to get a school bus through. Okay, but there's no guarantees because it's really contingent upon what the work is going on that day. So we can't say every day you'll have it through, and it'll depend on the weather. So we will make every effort to get the school bus through in August. We understand. We want to get everybody through in August, but it's just there are challenges out there with the excavations and getting these culverts replaced.
One last question. 2 minutes.
Perhaps I misheard, but I thought you said that they were working 12 hours, 27 days a week, and it was going to be cut in half. Did I mishear that?
40 hours. We said 12 hours, the major shift in the morning, and now because of the closure and this, by the time we cleared the road.
Well, I just wanted to know why it was being cut. I didn't understand.
We started working 12 hours in the morning and some shift in the afternoon, and I mean the evening overnight to do preparation. The effective hours cut more than half because the escort in the morning and the escort in the afternoon. We didn't have escort until like a few weeks ago. Before that, we were working 12 hours every day on both roads, plus the night shift.
Okay, I didn't understand.
Yeah, and we take time to clear the road from traffic, the morning traffic, and we take time to prepare the road for traffic in the afternoon. That's the time we're losing from the effective hours.
Thank you. It's 7:35, I'm 5 minutes late, what a shame. I want to thank our panel. I want to thank Supervisor Washington. I want to thank Terry and Calkins. And I want to thank you. We've been through some real stuff. A fire, a flood, roads closures. Every time I do one of these, I think, oh my God, the crowd is going to be very upset. You have shown that we are Idyllwild. You should be proud of yourself. Meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming.
So this is all along SR 74. So as you can see,